My name is Kirk Allen. I'm with the Edgar County Watchdogs. I'd like to thank you, the people. I've been to a lot of county board meetings. My hat's off to so many public citizens here. That's exciting to see. An email was shared with me that was sent by your assistant state's attorney to members of this board. I believe it was shared with our organization because of what we've been doing over the last 3 years as it relates to holding our public officials accountable. I published my article on this last night, so I won't cover my thoughts on it here, but other than to say this: if something is deemed unacceptable, make it so. I asked my wife last night if she was an employee and did something that I considered unacceptable, what would that mean to her? Her response: you're fired. Your state's attorney focused on the assurance to aggressively prosecute 3 duties, and I commend you for that: DUI, domestic violence, and drugs. It sounds great, but I believe there's an area that's been missed, and I would like to present that. It's one of the important elements to aggressively prosecute, and that is public corruption. Overlooking the importance of that sector leads to the public no longer trusting their government. I think most in this room would agree that our nation is at that point. When we don't hold people accountable, we lose our faith and trust in government. Don't let that happen in your county, because if we can't fix our local communities and counties, we're done as a country. Each and every county we have been asked to look at, we have uncovered an overwhelming number of prosecutable crimes. However, it appears the attitude is that most states' attorneys don't want to prosecute the person down the hall or across the street because, gosh, they helped them get elected, or they're my close friends that we party with at the lake. Sadly, the failure to hold our elected officials accountable and public sector employees accountable to the laws leads to a point where they do what they want with our tax dollars. They'll all be damned. Article 7 of our Illinois State Constitution: counties and municipalities, other than home rule units. Counties and municipalities which are not home rule units shall only have powers granted to them by law, and the powers to make local improvements by special assessment, and to exercise the power jointly with other counties and municipalities. It goes on to give some other guidance in regards to those powers and duties. County officers shall have those duties, powers, and functions provided by law and those provided by county ordinance. County officers shall have the duties and the powers or functions derived from common law or historical precedents unless altered by law or county ordinance. Shall have the powers granted to them by law. What does that mean? When the law is silent on a subject, you can't do it. No matter how bad you want to or you think you can, even if you think it's a good idea, you can't do it unless the law gives you the power to do that. I am confident if each and every time our elected officials would ask one simple question, we would find ourselves more often than not with budgets overflowing with money that would lead to tax decreases instead of tax increases. That question is, where in the statute does it give us the power to do this? Anything that you're going to do, where in the statute does it give you that power? For example, we uncovered our county board was stealing thousands of dollars every month from the county highway department, the health department, and 911, calling it administration fees. When confronted with that question, where in the statute does it give you the power to do this, the response was priceless. We asked our state's attorney, and he confirmed you are correct. It doesn't say we can do that, but it doesn't say we can't. So they continued to do it. We finally stopped it. That was their justification to stealing close to $15,000 a month from tax levy accounts that are required by law to be spent on the very items represented in the levy. We had to educate the state's attorney on the most basic principle of our government foundation. Our laws provide the power, and if they're silent, you can't do it, more commonly referred to as Dillon's Rule. We put a stop to it in our county and put $60,000 a year back into our highway department, $60,000 a year back into our health department, and $36,000 a year back into our 911 budget. Is this public body giving money away to nonprofits? If so, can anyone cite the statute that gives you the power to do that? If you can find one, have you put in place a cost analysis to make sure you're getting what you're paying for? If not, you might be surprised that you're just throwing tax money away that was supposed to be used for a specific purpose. I would encourage each and every person in this room to realize that this concept is not about Republican or Democrat, left or right. It's about right or wrong and the truth. I pray that everyone realizes that when we start uncovering things that violate the law and expose it, We're doing it for the fact that it's the right thing to do. How you public officials deal with that exposure will determine the future of your local society. The truth has no agenda. I thank you for your time.
Madam Chair, please catch the name of the group.
My name is Kirk Allen. I'm with Edgar County Watchdogs.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I'm John Kraft. I'm with the Edgar County Watchdogs. I would just like to discuss a little about property taxes and exempted property. I understand you have some property that the county owns that they're leasing out, and they're also paying property taxes on that property. And when dealing with exempted property that is leased, the property owner is required to submit a copy of the lease to the county assessor. That would be the county has to give the assessor a copy of the lease. And the purpose of that is to ensure that the assessor has a correct property description to assess the lease portion of the exempted property, and to have a name and address of the individual corporation responsible for the property taxes. The property tax code states that leased property shall be assessed to the leasee, and the taxes thereon extended and billed to the leasee, and collected in the same manner as for property which is not exempted. The leasee shall be liable for the taxes, and no lien shall be attached to the property of the state. I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that a contract that is in violation of the law that says the county will pay any property taxes is an invalid contract. That's all I have to say.